Hey everyone, just came from Connor Neal's YouTube live session. Amazing, isn't it, Connor, my friend? In case you were there with me in my 6th session of this series, the 6th session when we talked about structure, how to structure. This is the visualization of the basic structure of a persuasive speech, talk, presentation. High job. You remember this structure, the speech structure building, as I call it, a simple visualization of a Greek temple. You have the foundation, the opening of your speech. Then you have the 3 arguments, the 3 pillars of this temple. 3 arguments, 3 is the magic number. Hi, Alba. Great to have you here again. Hi, Muniz Yakub. Hello from Houston, Texas. Hey, Muniz. Houston, Texas, man. Houston, I heard, is a fantastic town. Never been. Give me 3 reasons as a persuasive speaker. I know. Tricky. Hello there. Moira, keep me posted on the bandwidth. You know this structure after talk number 6. Now, today in this talk, the call, I want to focus on the last part, the very last part of your speech structure. And this is the call. Welcome, my friends, to the call. Round number 20 of these calls, of these Q&A public speaking sessions. And today is all about the call to action at the end. Do you know the call to action? Call to action. The last scene, do you remember? Anybody remembers the last scene of Finding Nemo? The Pixar super movie from 2003, I think. The last scene. The last scene of Finding Nemo is the animals have made it. They made it out of the fish and the star. Boom. And the fish, they made it in their plastic bags. In their plastic bags, they made it out of the aquarium. They crossed the street and flash into the Pacific. Freedom. And all of these animals, the fish and the star, they are in their bags. And what does one fish say? Now what? Now what? That is an impression an audience can never have at the end of your presentation or talk or speech. This is it. Here with Connor, Nick. Hey, great to see you. Is the bandwidth now better? Because in Spain, I'm in the village and the bandwidth sometimes is low because of overloading of the internet. So I was just telling the last scene of the Finding Nemo, the fish in the plastic bags, greetings from Sarasota, greetings back Florida, and the fish, and then someone says, now what? This impression an audience can never have. You as a speaker want to make sure that the journey begins with your speech and doesn't end at the end of your speech. You want to make your speech the beginning of a journey. Every speech, every persuasive talk is the beginning, hi, Maura Crew, is the beginning of a journey of change. Every persuasive talk is the beginning of a journey to change. And this starting point is the call to action. The first action that people take. This is a Q&A session. Now seems better, Job. Thank you very much for the feedback. And thanks to everyone who came from Connor. Isn't Connor amazing? He's going to be my best man. Can you imagine the speech of the best man at a wedding? In case there will be a wedding with a crisis, this is horrible. But can you imagine Connor's speech at a wedding to have him as a best man? I think there should be a job to hire Connor as your best man just for the speech at the wedding. Yeah, that's cool. Hi, Rodrigo. We're talking today about the call to action at the end of the speech, but I can tell you already, this is all about public speaking, rhetoric, persuasion, inspiration. This is my calls. Now I can tell you there's not only a call to action. Do you have any question about anything that has to do with a call to action? I'm always prepared, as my regular people know, I'm always prepared with a mind map. So here we go. Yes, Connor is, what about ending with something like to be continued? But you see, Alba, this is in the speech structure that I always use, whether it's 2 pillars or 5 pillars, the arguments. I always have an introduction. I always have a closing the roof. I always have arguments. 3 is the magic number. And then I have the drain pipe. Now, to be continued, that would be for me a drain pipe sentence when I go back to the beginning. But then if I do that, I would say as a first sentence here, when I start my talk, I would say something with, have you ever thought about continuing? And then the last sentence would be, to be continued. That would be more drain pipe. I'm talking about action. Hey, Connor, great job today. You have brought some of your people here. Great. Now, let's go into the call to action. Why is it so important? I have several aspects here, and always ask your question. This is Q&A. As a speaker, as a communicator, as a talker at a cocktail party, as a talker at a campfire, as a teacher in front of your class. I work with Connor for the last 10 years in his business school as a guest teacher. When I'm a trainer, when you're executive, when you are a leader, when you're a CEO, you always have 4 objectives. Just a second. Yeah, Joe, I'm going to get into that comment you just made. 4 objectives. I want to inform about something. I always say, guys, send me PDF. Can you just send me PDF? You know these PowerPoint jihad presentations when there's like 500,000? We know that. I don't even mention it. The other day when we talked about content killers, there's a session on content killers. This is what I call IKEA. I know it already. Don't go to IKEA. There's no excitement when you shop at IKEA. So I don't have to tell you that informative PowerPoint presentations suck. Send me PDF, don't steal my time. Entertain. I always believe, I'm convinced, no speech should be boring, always be entertaining. People know exactly what is show, what is entertainment. Make it entertaining with storytelling, for instance. And then I want to focus today on these 2. The main objectives I have as a speaker. This is the power you have. The moment you stand up in front of an audience, this is the power you have. You persuade them to take action. This is Aristotle. This is, my friend, Connor's lovers, fans, friends. Connor gave me that one. Isn't Connor nice? Aristotle loves persuasion because persuasion is rhetoric. Moving people to take action. Stop talking about it. Stop thinking about it. Act. This is persuasion. And of course, the queen of speaking, the mother of them all. The king and the queen, the superstar. Yes, we can. Barack Obama. Inspiration. Inspire your audience to change their attitude. Appeal to the higher values so they take action themselves. I don't have to move them to action. They take it themselves. This is inspiration. And today, when we talk about the call, I want to focus on the last 2. So this is today all about persuasion and inspiration and how to make it happen at the end of your speech with a call. Now, first, let's go back. Job call to action must be small, easy. I will get there. Perfect. Connor, the worst use of power is not to use it. Exactly. And you know, every time you stand up, you have all the power, independent from your race, your age, your skin color. Who cares about that? Independent if you're bald head, have a beer belly, you're small, you're big, you're a football super high school star, or you're not, you're a geek with a trumpet. I'm a clarinet player. Can you imagine? I'm a clarinet player. It doesn't matter. The moment you stand up, you have the power. So use it, but you have to move into action, or you have to change the attitude, persuade or inspire. Persuasion, inspiration. Maria, hi from Brazil. I just heard the story with you, the chit chat with Connor. So your teacher, always great to have teachers. To have, Connor, to not have a call to action is the worst use of power. You get attention, you use time, and then you don't use, make it better play. Exactly. Now, yesterday already, Connor, I think you left. Yesterday, I mentioned Robert Cialdini already. Why is the call to action at the end of your talk? This is the end, the opening, the argument. You come to the closing, the roof. This is what I call the speech structure building. And you come to the end. You gained the power. You have a great message. You repeat your message. You have amazing arguments based on logos, logic, ethos. I've seen it with my own eyes. Pathos. But what about Alvaro, my 13-year-old? What about his future? Logos. 27% said no last month. Today, 85%. Logos. So you support your arguments with logos, ethos, and pathos. You come and you gain the power. Connor, you're just saying you gained the power. And people say at the end of the talk, thank you for your attention. And they leave the stage. Can you imagine? It's the moment to do the call. So let's start first. Questions. Always ask questions. This is Q&A. I realize, Connor, here, it's so hard while we are talking, because we love our shit so much, then it's so hard to not talking. Sebastian, howdy, how's it going? So we are today, Sebastian, all the others, we are with the call to action, and the second one, which is for me different. Let's start. Connor, for the first time in my life, I will use secondhand knowledge, a third person, Robert Cialdini, but we cannot live without Robert Cialdini and his 6 factors of influence scribbled down in his book, Influence, 1984. How can you live without Robert Cialdini? Is he from, I think, Connor, from Arizona? I think it's Arizona. If I'm not wrong, it's a professor down there. And Robert Cialdini, just a second. Maria, Mr. Neil he's Connor, he's Irish. He doesn't, if you say Mr. Neil in Irish, doesn't know who you're talking to. The one who told me those things of logos, ethos, pathos, thanks God. Yeah, of course, this is the base of life. Now, Robert Cialdini, in his 6 factors of influence, one of them is consistency. And what does it mean with consistency? Consistency in behavior. They did tests. I will not go in. Check the book. I don't go in detail, but to make it to really make it very simple. The moment you sign a petition in a walk-in district, in a pedestrian zone in your town, or at a mall, you sign a petition to save the orangutans in Borneo in Malaysia. My special rose is from Malaysia, Kota Kinabalu. I always mention Malaysia. So the moment you sign, there he is. Thank you, Connor. There you can check him, Robert Cialdini. The moment you sign a petition, you are more apt, you're more willing to take a bigger, this is an action. This is not thinking or believing or hoping or knowing. This petition, signing the petition is an action. And with that action, with that small, tiny little action, you're more willing to take a bigger step, a bigger action. So 1 week later, imagine somebody calls you from this NGO to save the orangutan in Borneo. They will call, Mr. Murke, here signed this petition and gave us your number. And we have now a special, a $10 donation for a new park that we have 2 families orangutan. Is that possible? You can pay by PayPal. And I would say, well, sure, $10, nothing. The moment you do $10 donations, you're more willing to take a bigger step to do a $100 yearly annual fee. And it all starts with the first action. So at the end of any talk, never, ever, ever, ever stop doing that. Stop saving the world. I call it the save the world action. Stop telling them, and now go out there and save the world. Or no, go out there and start with yoga. Nothing happens. Go out there and run a marathon. Man, nothing will happen at all. It doesn't work. We need that first step. This is the one. Love the props. Thank you, Sebastian. Yeah, this one was special. I cut it in the store. It was for my special rose for Toastmaster. I'm a Toastmasters here, Speakers Club, and I cut it for her. And yeah, that was amazing. So what is a first step? Well, wait, every questions. Juan, oh, Juan, how's it going? How do you make your final call to action more compelling for your audience? This is where it's going to go now. He's a month younger than me, Lou. Robert Cialdini. Moira, you're so young. The stop prop is nice. I'll do that for me. Yeah, this is not paper. This is not paper. This is this, how do you call it? Polyethylene, whatever thing. It's hard. And I cut it with the paper cutter in that store, got the real measures of a stop sign. And these are, you can buy them in any handicraft shop, these letters. And I love it. It works very well for online meetings because it's just the right size. Let's go back to the call to action. Now, for all of you, because I have listened to many, I will give you examples of what works. Or do you have any other question about this? In contest speeches, you also use direct call to action for small actions. Most I've seen use only open inspirational calls. Exactly. Now he's referring Job Vives. He's from Barcelona. Great design school, EDEP. Mostly that is the inspiring speech, and we will get there in a second. I separated. You want to inform, entertain, persuade, or inspire your audience. For me, this is two different things. Persuasion, you make them do something, sign this petition. This is action. Inspiration, change your attitude. So let's go with the call to action. Well, I might bring them, Connor. He just says you're going to miss some of these props when you go back to school. And yes, I will bring them. Let's take the other day in props. I already talked about this one. I will give you the short version. This is a bullion cube. This is the most persuasive talk I have experienced in 3 minutes at IESE Business School, ESA Business School, Connor's school. What a guy did. Short version. Carlos, let's call him Carlos. He sits here, big table. I sit on the other side. He distributes 15 bullion cubes before his talk. Don't touch them. We didn't touch them. Then he gives his talk, short version. Eat less salt in life. 5-word message, great message, Instagrammable. Hashtag, super. 5 words. Eat less salt in life. Cool. Then he gave 3 arguments, of course, because 3 is the magic number. Tic-tac-toe, the 3 little piggies. 3 arguments. A Stanford University medical school study. Always throw in Stanford University. Always cool. He had, of course, a Moscow professor who investigated more about this. And then some personal case. Pathos means suffering. A family member, too much salt. Salt really is bad for your health. He's saying all this, and then he says, for these 3 reasons, eat less salt in life. And today, you can take the first step. Take the cube that I distributed before in your left hand. Open the cube. Break into 2 halves. Eat 1 half. I did it the other day. You can check props. There is a session on props. I did it. I don't do it again because for 5 minutes, I was drinking wine like a maniac to get the 56% of pure salt out of my German mouth. This is 56% pure salt, painted brown, nicely packaged, white poison. Now, this is a call to action. He made us eat that crap on the spot. Now, this is a call to action. I give you another example. And then in the end, today is more talking because I'm so passionate about the call to action. You're going to miss some of the another one. Imagine we have 2 doggies here. We live in the outskirts of Barcelona, 35K in the north. There's mountains. We have a garden, fortunately. We have 2 doggies. They're in the back now. It's a Labrador, 4 years, Betty, and a white one. Anyone here has doggies? Anyone here has doggies? Wow, they're amazing. And a golden retriever, Lily, also 4 years old. And Rose, my special Rose up there working, she always wants me to pick up shit. Now, I've In this quarantine, my friends, I picked up more shit than Glenn Close in 101 Dalmatians. Now, if she tells me, go pick up the shit, this is moving to action without any opening, without an introduction story about her past with the doggies. There is no message. Picking up shit is great. There is no message. There are no arguments. This is a typical conversation at home. Pick up the shit. This is a call to action without any argumentation. Now imagine she'd say, I know you don't want to pick up shit, but next time you will not expect it. You will find this one bag. Pick up the shit. And she could place this next to my beloved coffee machine, the little Nespresso coffee machine. And then I would go and pick up the shit. Third example, also IESE. Connor, are you still here? Connor, are you here? Connor, are you still here? I need you, Connor, if you're still here. If not, doesn't matter. This was also at the business school. These guys are really smart, man. They do great speeches. We always make them give persuasive speeches. We coach them well, and then they give the amazing speeches. The last example about a good call to action is this one. For the non-Europeans here, €2. $2.20 more or less. As my dog cannot pick up stuffs anymore. Maria, yeah, I heard before he's 16 years old, right, Maria? 16? That's a good age for a dog, man. You're very, very fortunate. Harshad, we get there. Just give me the last example of a great call to action. Then we will find the patterns. I defined for me patterns, 3S, 3 letters, SSS, to have great calls to action that you can replicate in the future in your life. So here we go. Yes, 16. So this is a €2 thing. I remember Global Executive MBA, the final speech, 45 people in Barcelona in this business school, IESE, in the room. 45 people from all over the world, from Beijing, from Palo Alto, from Argentina, from Russia, from everywhere, from South Africa, from Ghana, everywhere. And the guy gives a speech. Also the short version, more or less like this. My friends, we've been now together for 1.5 years. It's been a great time. We've traveled the world, Palo Alto. We went to Shanghai. We went to New York, Barcelona, Madrid. We grew together as a team. But there are 2 people here, 2 people that we as a team always take for granted, and we never really said thank you. And today is the moment to say thank you. And then he referred to Maria and Teresa. I make up the names, but Maria, Teresa, that's good Spanish names. The 2 ladies in the administration who took care of them for 1.5 years. All the travel, all the hotels, all the logistics, all the administration. And they were always in the back. And he said, you see, nobody pays attention, but there are 3 good reasons to say thank you today. He gave his arguments. And in the end, he says, and for these 3 reasons, today, let's say thank you to Maria and Teresa. I commit myself to buy 2 great bunches of flowers for tonight's celebration. And there we can give to Maria and Teresa our thank you. All I need from everyone is €2. Then he took out a silver platter and he said, put your €2 here and I will make it happen. And tonight we say thank you to them. He gave that platter into the audience, 45 people. You should have seen that. Where's my fucking €2? In 45 seconds, he had €90 on a silver platter. And this is the power of a call to action. And what I did based on Maggi bouillon cubes, based on bags to pick up dog poo, and based on stories I've seen so many times. I've had the evaluations of more than 10,000. I have 10,938 speeches. I'm German, I have to be exact. And €2 stories. I learned about the power of 3S. And the power of 3S is this one. When you do a call to action, make sure you follow these simple rules. First, ask yourself, is the action I ask for from the people in the audience? And now we have online meetings. They also can take action. But always ask yourself, is it simple? Is it simple? Don't ask for downloading stupid QR codes at a conference. I've seen that. I don't even know how to download a QR code. Complexity, you're out. Second, ask yourself, is the action I ask for specific? I mean, the guy could have asked me, or could have told me, okay, you can either eat less bouillon cubes or you reduce the amount of soya in your meals. You could also do that. But he didn't. He made us eat that crap. So make sure, by all means, that the action you ask for is specific. The moment you give human beings an option, it's like a fish dangling on a hook, they're gone. They're gone. You can either call me or send me an email. You will never receive a call nor an email. My phone number is stuck underneath your chair. I'm looking forward to our chat. That's specific. Be specific. He made us eat that bouillon cube crap. And the third S, make sure it's a symbolic step, a symbolic first step towards the change you want to accomplish. €2, impossible joy in the eyes and tears of Maria and Teresa. It's symbolic. This is symbolic. €2 is symbolic for joy. The bouillon cube, I've never put salt anymore, extra salt on my sauces. I don't use bouillon cubes anymore. With one speech, 3 minutes, he made it happen. That's a call to action. Rodrigo, I remember the call to action, my speech at the ESA Aula Magna. I put 120. Was it you who did it? No, but that's Aula Magna. This was in the other room. But Rodrigo, yeah, that's so powerful. Cool. Okay. When it's simple, specific, and symbolic, the action you ask for, you have a chance that something happens. Otherwise, no. And who said it? Is it Aristotle himself? I have to check. Sometimes I don't know. But the quote is, all speech is vain and empty unless accompanied by action. Make them do something when you want to persuade people. And now in the last 5 minutes, by symbolic, do you mean the action? Yeah, a symbolic first step. A symbolic first step, Rodrigo. Is it Rodrigo? No. Ramon, you're somebody else. By symbolic, you mean the actions. A symbolic first step. For instance, I worked a lot in the past because I'm a coach for speaking. I work with individuals as well. And some people they want funding for their startup. That's a typical case. And then we create that investor pitch. And what is the call to action investor pitch? Give me the fucking money. Has it ever worked in 8 minutes and 20 seconds to receive 1 million for your startup, which is a business plan on a sheet of paper? No. I mean, how does it work? You have the investor pitch, then you have a coffee with them, then you have a lunch, then you have a commercial due diligence, then you have a legal due diligence. Then the investor says, oh man, but we have another company in our portfolio that goes very well along with your business. That could be synergies, another commercial due diligence, another legal due diligence, then another coffee, another meeting, another dinner, and after 27 steps, man, you get 300,000 for your 1 million company and you lose 30%. This is how it works. Got to go. Thank you, Connor, for being here. And this is exactly Sebastian Lora. And do you know Sebastian Lora? He's also amazing. He does it in Spanish. Great YouTuber. Sebastian Lora, he's here in the chat. Check him out. If you speak Spanish, follow Sebastian Lora. Also great Toastmaster friend. Exactly. Schedule next meeting. What I always say, well, now my coffee is empty already. I had a coffee before, but I always say, ask for the first step. Ask for the coffee. Rellingman, that's difficult for me. This is the first step, and it's a symbolic first step because during that coffee, you talk about the partnership in the future. Now, I cannot leave you, and I need 4 more minutes because now this is persuasion. Persuasion needs action like the roses need the rain, and this I stole from Bon Jovi. Nadine, looking forward to call the action for us today. Yeah, exactly. You will see. But here comes inspiration. And this is something, my friends, I realized over the years, with all those thousands of speech evaluations. When it's an inspirational speech, an inspiring speech, which is very much based on pathos, on emotion, on emotional appeal, and they really want to act, I learned that it's almost counterproductive to tell people at the end, when they're totally emotionally charged and they're ready to do, yes, we can believe in change. Where is the Democratic Party? If you're Republican, no problem. Cuomo, my new superstar. There's no red, there's no blue. There's only red, white, blue. Is that great rhetoric or what? No, yes. Superstructure. Think about it. Check it out. Always works. And this is so simple. There's no red, there's no blue. There's red, white, blue. I don't care, but he was great with yes, we can. This was inspiration. It was not make a cross next to the Democratic Party. I learned that it's almost counterproductive to tell the people at the end of your inspiring speech, now everybody take a sheet of paper and write a name down that you want to have. Come on, guys. This is playing with their intelligence. They've already taken a decision. And this goes back to your question. That goes back to Job's initial question in the chat. What about these more inspiration? Toastmasters, the winning speeches, global speeches are always more reflective calls. And this is why I call this thing not call to action anymore. I call it ta 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 ta. That was so wrong in tone. Call to reflection. Not call to action. They have to call to reflection. What could be a great call to reflection? Give me an example of a call to reflection. Give me one example out of the blue, spontaneously. A sentence that would be a call to reflection. While you're thinking, Maria, Luisa, besides being a coach, are you an engineer as well? I've worked in a shipyard here in Brazil, among 5 of them. PhD engineers, 1 from Germany. Nice moment to come back to my studies. No, I'm not an engineer. I hated math. I was always, I've never been a number cruncher. And yeah, I studied business engineering, business administration, but I always was communication marketing. Is there a call to reflection that you could think of? Do you really want to eat the bouillon? Oh, that is Hannibal Lecter style. A rhetorical question in the end. Very good. Something like, what do you say? I don't know your first name, but Ramalingam. Do you say it correctly? Something like, have you ever done something in your life? This thing. Yeah, exactly. I always use this in my trainings as examples. This is what I did 5 years ago when I was in my struggling situation. What would you have done if you had been in my situation? So that's a great call to reflection because they think it. Another one, questions at the end is always cool. These are before I always talked about the 3 heroes in my life. And then in the end I said, these were the 3 years of life. Check. Who are the heroes in your life? Whatever you do, reflections to my eyes, what will he do next? Reflections to my eyes, what will he do next? Yeah, it could be. Questions are always good because you have to answer every question. We had it before in other sessions. Whatever you do. At the beginning of this call, I talked about Finding Nemo, the last scene, when the plastic, all the fish in the plastic, and then someone said, now what? This is the perception you never want in an audience to happen. Now what? Your speech, whether it's persuasive or inspiring, is always, always, always the beginning of the journey. It is never the end. And when I reflect on all the PowerPoint presentations, I have one is to present with PowerPoint in my trainings. And when I reflect on all those 8 years and 3 months of KPMG, my former employer, all the presentations I've lived in, if I reflect on all those presentations I've seen at conferences, 99% end just there. The beginning of the journey is the call, either to act, call to action, or to reflect, call to reflection. Next time you give a speech, Nadine, you want a call to action? Isn't always beyond, yeah, the best is, yeah. Thank you, Marie. The next, I know you will never eat this bouillon cube in your life in a speech given by an executive MBA in Barcelona. But for the next persuasive talk in business, online, offline, in the future again, but now it's online, whatever you give, any talk, and it has this, you want to persuade people, use this power. You make them take an action. Think about it. What will be your muggy cube? Oh, now I said muggy. Shouldn't have said it. What will be your bouillon cube? What will be that action you ask them? Make it simple, specific, and symbolic, and you have a chance that change starts with your talk. It's been a great pleasure. Job he just finalized. Call to reflection isn't a bit risky since people may not know you're really ending. Feels like saying thank you. No, I do the call to reflection. And then, of course, this is for me, holy, holy, holy. Those of you who have not been to the session, it's session number 6. Structure. This is my signature exercise, how to structure any speech. I will always go back, Job, with the drain pipe. I call it drain pipe from the rooftop to the foundation, the opening of your speech. I will always end with the drain pipe so everybody knows it's over. That's it, my friends. It's been a great pleasure having you all here. I'm looking forward to Connor's next talk. And tomorrow at 6 p.m. CET, what we're gonna talk about tomorrow is, and this is the sentence of your speech, of your talk. When I go to networking events, cocktail parties, whatever it is, I'm a fanatic with the message. What is your message? That will be the theme tomorrow. See you all tomorrow, Alba, everybody, Pile, thanks a lot, everyone. See you tomorrow with the message. Hasta la vista.